late in practice. Usually that's a sign. You're going to go with Cam. You just want to run with your guy. Or is it more so you want your whole team to bounce back after Wednesday's game?
Well, we're playing it one game at a time. Cam is fresh. He's ready to go. And we're choosing to play him tonight. We'll worry about Calgary or tomorrow when we get to tomorrow. And it's our last game on a homestand. We've got a team that played back-to-back. We want to get up and running, and part of it is giving the whole team a chance to rebound as well.
Todd, can you just talk about expectations on the players even when things are going well, and how maybe as a coach you ramp it up a little bit even more, and how you keep the standards high in winning times?
I think this is the best time to be aggressive and be assertive with your team. When they're feeling a little bit good about themselves and maybe letting some details slip, so you stay on top of them. They're more accepting of not necessarily criticism, but direction at this point. And they're pretty good at self-evaluation. They know personally where they're at in their game, and they also know as a team that they need to be better, so they're accepting of it. And our direction has been primarily video. If anybody watched our skate yesterday, it wasn't very taxing. Again, because of the segment, we're in 11 and 19 by the time we're done tomorrow, and it's just how we have to manage our team.
You were working on earlier in the season, or evaluating how your team handled success and how they dealt with prosperity. I know it was something you weren't happy with early. Have you seen improvement in your team through the year, that they're in winning situations acting better?
Yes, for the most part. We still have to answer that question. There's so many games left in the season, but I think the approach between winning and losing, or the reaction to winning and losing, pardon me, rather than the approach has leveled out a little bit more with the players and and the coaches and all that type of stuff. There's not near as high, and the lows aren't quite as low. Emotions are in check, and acceptance of what went right and what went wrong is at a pretty good spot as well.
Brandon Davidson, due to injuries, hasn't played a ton of hockey in the last year. Have you seen improvements in his reads and reactions now that he's getting a few consecutive games under his belt?
Slowly, yes. He'd be the first to tell you he still has work to do, but there are improvements, and you'd expect that to happen over time. The tough thing for him is missing the end of last year, coming back and missing basically all of exhibition season and training camp. So he didn't even get that part under his belt. And to come back in, it's happening fast. The intensity is up a lot higher now. We don't notice it because we go day after day. You guys don't even notice it. You go day after day. You don't see the incremental intensity or speed increase from where it was in September in exhibition season. But he feels it because he's going right into it.
Todd, when it comes to Benoit Pouliot, do you just sense that he's really frustrated and trying to get things going, or what do you see in his game right now?
Well, he's the next one. Obviously getting Ebbs going and off the schneid is important. Cass got his. Benny has been part of Jordan's reestablishing his intensity around the net and that type of stuff. Now Benny's got to get it done, and I think Benny's worked harder. I think there's been a better effort, and that has to come before results exist or start presenting themselves. And he's done that lately. Hopefully he gets rewarded at some point.
Now that Eberle snapped his long slide, are you expecting him to go on a run? Do you think he's that type of player that...
Well, he's been streaky in the past, so let's hope that he does. Let's make sure that the next streak is a positive one, not a negative one. But we've talked enough about him. It would be nice just to leave him alone right now and let him play his game, and maybe he does put 2 or 3 together. But he has proven to be streaky.
When it comes to your goaltenders,
Hey, when you're in the front row, I can hear you, Spec.
When it comes to your goaltenders, you probably don't want to tell us who's playing tomorrow. Do you know in your own mind who you're playing tomorrow night, or is it something you're going to make a decision after tonight's game?
We'll evaluate tonight's game. We'll be able to, take everything into consideration, but tonight's game will also come into that.
Have you seen any improvement in Lucic's game the last couple? He still can't score a goal.
I think he can score a goal, he just hasn't.
Have you seen improvement in his game?
Yeah. I've seen a line that's starting to form an identity with Schlepp and Luch on the wings, doing some good corner work, some quickness through the middle, some unity on the bench where there's some talking about what's going right and what's maybe not going right on the line. And Luch is a big part of that. He is the granddaddy there. He's the one that keeps it going, and you have to give him credit for that. On the ice on the power play the other night, occupying some real important ice when we score. He attracts other players, opens up space for some of our quicker, smaller guys, Drake in particular.
How different is Nashville to prepare for when they don't have PK Subban and Roman Josi in the lineup?
Well, they are. We haven't seen Nashville with PK, but we can assume what they would be like with him. But they are, they still play their team game. They still have back-end guys. That's the strength of Nashville's organization, in my opinion. And David and Paul Fenton and their group have always done a tremendous job with defensemen. Bringing D-men in draft-wise, finding them in the American League, doing whatever they do, but they bring them in and they always seem to be able to play their system real well. And if we sit back and say, okay, these two aren't in the lineup, it's going to be easy from the back end, we're dreaming. Anybody who watched the Calgary game last night could see that. So we have our work cut out for us just based on who's playing, forget about who isn't.
Todd, you've been given a lot of optional skates to these guys. Is that something that just happens over the course of a season because the season is long, or is that a change in philosophy that you've had?
I would like to be practicing because I think we need it. I think we're still a growth team that needs time on the ice, needs to be given some direction in situations, body position, timing, some system stuff, but we can't do it. We have to let the players make some decisions based on how they feel physically. And we've actually encouraged some of the younger players, because naturally on an option I have to go out because I'm a young player. That's not the case. As a young player, you have to be able to perform. So you know your body. If you need some time, take the time. We're beyond those archaic days where just because of your youth, you've got to be on the ice all the time. You get tired too. But I would like to be practicing. We can't, though, based on the schedule.
Todd, you mentioned Lucic in that line with Slepyshev, who Slep doesn't play in the power play, doesn't play in your penalty kill. He's not somebody that I think everybody looks on like an Eberle to score goals. As a coach, when you're evaluating his games, is it tougher to evaluate a rookie like that, or is it easier to say just simple things? Kind of what's your expectations from him on a nightly basis? What have you seen now that he's played a few consistent games in a row?
He looks confident right now. He looks sure of himself. He has a heavy shot, and he's quick. He can dart to loose pucks and play. I call it playing inside the opposition's equipment. Get inside people and reestablish possession of the puck. And when we see that happening, he seems to be more confident. I thought earlier in the year when it wasn't going so well for him, there was a number of turnovers, a number of hope plays. We don't see that as much anymore. Power play, penalty kill may come over time, but we've kind of settled in now. We're, 2/3 into the season or 3/4, whatever it might be, with a rotation on the power play and on the penalty kill. So we'll likely not change that much unless injury dictates it. Why would they not give you the mic? Played extremely well when he went down there again, produced points, centerman, understands our environment, the systems, can play wing, can play center, can penalty kill, pretty good on face-offs. Done.